the only one.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are live, and I'm in studio broadcasting worldwide on this live Sunday, the 24th day of November 2013. And we're going to be here, Lord willing, for the next 2 hours, as we are every Sunday, 4 to 6 p.m. Central. I tell you, it is weird to be back in the nice warm studio, not the 30-degree freezing, sleeting Dallas 50th JFK anniversary. And I just want to thank the good Lord above, all of you out there for your prayers that we made it back safe and sound without too many injuries. It was wild. And I will talk about what happened in Dallas and being attacked by the sheriff's deputies at the start of the second hour today. But I'm from Dallas, but I don't really follow Dallas anymore. I love Austin. And a senior police officer, I knew he was senior, basically ordered the barricades open per court order after the ceremonies were over to allow the general public back in, including us, for our demonstration. Because folks had filed lawsuits and injunctions for their own groups, so it opened it up to all the groups. And the feds responded with their deputized sheriff's deputies to attack us. And then they had all their insignias off wearing solid black. I didn't really know who they were. Some of them had insignias, but they were in the back. And I was like, the Dallas police just rioted on us after letting us in. This is a setup. And then the Dallas police were like, no, it's the sheriff's department. And the Dallas police were like totally freaked out. They were right there when it happened. And the Dallas police were like, what are you doing? And then they just started punching us and hitting us and attacking people with small children. I mean, there's high-def video of it from 3 different angles up on Infowars.com. And you can see it all. But the video that went viral, because it was on Ustream, was like 10 minutes later when we're around the corner and they're still coming up and shoving us and stuff. That's the video that's viral, not the high-def one we got uploaded that night that shows it from a rooftop, because we had a hotel room up there and heard noises, and John Bound got a camera and shot the whole melee as it began. But then we had high-def cameras on the ground. But obviously it is the video that is going viral out there, is the Ustream of the end of the incident. But that's all up on Infowars.com. And it's a case point example of media deception. Because the Dallas Morning News says we were trying to break through the barricades, and the valiant police, the sheriff's deputies, stopped us, and that we were hurting pedestrians and blocking them. Just absolute, total, and complete BS. And John B. Wells, host of Coast to Coast AM and a famous voiceover person, a great guy, he was there to see what happened, and he is just blown away by their lies. So the article, Sheriff's Department Lies About Assault on Peaceful Protesters. In fact, I don't even think that's still on the front page of Infowars.com. We need to get, will you guys call Kurt? He's the one that's on this Sunday, writing a bunch of important articles for the site. I forgot to tell him to leave that back. No, actually, he did link to it in the Today on the Alex Jones Show area. It's impose an iron-fisted censorship, and then that links to all the videos. So he did indeed just intuitively do that. So that is up on Infowars.com in the listen area. Now, quite frankly, the reason I'm going to talk about this in the second hour is it's not very important compared to the other big news we've got on the Middle East with Iran, this new peace deal with Israel and Saudi Arabia threatening to attack Iran. And we've got big Obamacare news, big open borders news, big Common Core news. 2 articles on Common Core. 2 + 2 = 5. They want idiots, so folks don't know what's happening to them. 6th graders polled on gay marriage, abortion, and gun control. And Common Core Obama biography portrays all whites as racist. That's what they're teaching kids right now. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us on this November 24th, 2013 original live Sunday transmission. It's 4:07 Central Standard Time right now, and we'll be here for the next 2 hours as we are every Sunday, 4 to 6 p.m. Central, then back weekdays, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Central, 7 o'clock Central, Infowars Nightly News, listings and all the information at Infowars.com/show. You'll find the podcast there, free video feeds, free audio feeds, free iPhone and Droid apps, Infowars.com/show. or you can also just go to the listen page. It has all the same information. I've got a very important report for you today coming up at the start of the next hour that illustrates government corruption, but also illustrates government doing the right thing in some cases and how the two different systems clash with each other, just like it does in every other area of life, whether it's family or business or church or dating. There's the good, the bad, and the ugly out there. And it also deals with just incredible propaganda and deception. And I happen to be right, smack dab in the middle of it. I'm in the news every day in major establishment papers and national television, demonizing us, attacking us, because the old World War II saying of fighter bomber pilots and bomber pilots was that they would fly towards the flak clouds, towards the guns firing on them. For those that don't know what flak is, it's large shells they fire up into the atmosphere at the level that the aircraft are coming in that explode and then begin falling down in clouds of metal debris that goes right through the metal of the aircraft, right through the engines to devastating effect. And in World War II, the fighter bomber pilots, like my dad's dad, would steer directly into the black clouds, directly into the metal and into the Messerschmitts and the Focke-Wulfs to then drop their bombs. And so when someone's under attack by the entire establishment, like Ted Cruz or Ron Paul or Rand Paul or Alex Jones or Matt Drudge or any other libertarian constitutionalist, that's because we're simply mainline Americans. In fact, if you study somebody like John F. Kennedy, who died in 1963, 50 years and 2 days ago in Dallas, Texas, he would be considered more conservative than Ronald Reagan. Cut taxes by 50%, not 20%. Stuff like that. That shows how far this country's gotten towards socialism with a fascist system on top of it. I didn't know, and I'm just now able to see all the high-def video before I was attacked by sheriff's deputies, and women and children were also attacked by Dallas sheriff's deputies. I was able to say, it looked like the police chief, but I don't know who the Dallas police chief is. Let me see the Dallas police chief, and they looked it up. I was up there for the 50th anniversary coverage, and it was David O. Brown, chief of police, who came up to me on video. It was on the live stream, too. Folks watched this during my live radio/TV show Friday afternoon at about 1:30 and said, yes, the ceremony's been over for 30 minutes. We're going to open the barricades up per the judge's order that demonstrators be allowed in after the demonstration and after the official memorial. The crowds had all left, and he said, we're opening it up. And he was very friendly and very nice. Then there was a big argument 30 minutes later with the feds ordering the Dallas police to remove us. They didn't. So at the courthouse, and we have video of all this, they had 50 sheriff's deputies and other feds in black uniforms with no insignia attack us. They didn't even say, go, leave. They just came over, lined up, and literally attacked everyone. They said, go now, and then boom, started pushing. And by the time, and the crowd did not even really resist, they began shoving men, women, and children in the face. We're going to go over all of that coming up in the next hour. And not so much because it's a story we're involved in. Again, you can just search my name, Alex Jones, into Google, click news. There's probably 20 news stories a day, and we don't cover them. Because it's not interesting when White House, Fed propaganda arms make stuff up or exaggerate things we've said or whatever. I mean, that's just not news. It is news when the Dallas Morning News and other TV stations literally, and I have the news articles, literally came out and said that we attacked the police and that we tried to rush in during the ceremony, which is total bull. It had been over for about 45 minutes at that point. And again, a few weeks ago, a judge, via a lawsuit, said there's going to be an injunction unless the city of Dallas, and by the way, the police department did not agree with the mayor. They said, the mayor, you got to let people hand out flyers in Dallas. The mayor didn't want you to be able to hand out flyers for 2 days before or 2 days after the ceremony and wanted the whole city to be a non-free speech zone, Constitution-free zone. And I talked to police on camera that said, well, we're not enforcing that. It's unconstitutional. So, I mean, I'm not here saying the Dallas police are angels or anything, but they upheld the Constitution pretty good. Dallas police chief was smiling, was real friendly. He goes, nope, you're right. As soon as they give us a word, you can go in. We go in. Everything's great. We're talking to the Dallas cops, waiting to go finally into Dealey Plaza. We got through one of the checkpoints that was a few blocks back. And then here come the feds ordering around the auxiliary sheriff department with their establishment liberal Janet Reno wannabe sheriff. She's one of those types, and is very socialistic on record. Lupe something, I forget her full name. I looked her up. I saw her out there, and she's literally a Fed. And our sheriff's deputies are now federal minions who literally look like something out of Central Casting. If I was Stanley Kubrick and I was going to try to cast a movie of a futuristic police state where convicts have been recruited to be sheriff's deputies, I mean, these guys look like something out of a movie. And there was like a father, a little girl on his shoulders. They were trying to push him over with her. They had some guy ramming his head into a wall. They would push people up against. Now, see, this footage is later right here. This is what everybody keeps showing that we're showing right now is like 10 minutes later. So what I'm going to do is tomorrow on the nightly news, by then we'll have all the high-def video, the rest of it, of the police chief saying go in, of us being peaceful, of the whole deal. Because for some reason, what everybody shows, when everybody promotes, when everybody keeps showing us is after they push us around the block and we're still attacking us, which is where I blow up at them and stuff, and is certainly interesting. But again, I'm going to come back and into all the real important news, and next hour I'll spend a couple segments on this. But I'm going to go through chronological order with the high-def video and show the Dallas police chief saying, that's right, that's right, that's true, and as soon as we can, we're going to open the barricades. He goes, sir, barricades are open. You're absolutely right. Please go in now. Now it's time for your demonstration. And then the feds came over, told the Dallas police to kick us out. The Dallas police said no, right in front of us. So 10 minutes later, here comes deputized feds to attack us in the heart of Dallas, Texas. I mean, that's an issue of separation of powers between cities and counties. That's an issue of federal versus state, 10th Amendment. I mean, it really, 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 really shows on so many fronts just how much this country has degenerated and how the media sits there and manipulates. It doesn't matter if the Dallas police chief follows what the judge said. It doesn't matter if all the crowds are already gone in the media. This was all about the government and the establishment media controlling the event, only putting out the official story when 90% of Americans in the average poll believe there was more than one shooter. Everyone I talked to in Dallas, for the days we were there, police from all over the country came, firefighters, none of them buy the official story because they're not stupid. This segment, I'm going to give out the toll-free number for folks that want to call in about the different subjects I'm about to throw out there on this live Sunday broadcast. Let me just read you some of the headlines here. That's probably the best way to just give you an idea of what we got to cover today. Nuclear agreement may result in Israel and Saudi Arabia attacking Iran. That's Infowars.com. Link to the Jerusalem Post and to statements by the Times of London. And, of course, that was earlier in the week that they said that if a peace deal was reached that they didn't like, that's Israel and Saudi Arabia, if they didn't like it, a peace deal reached with Iran, that they would then probably launch a military attack, and that nuclear weapons have been transferred from Pakistan to Saudi Arabia for possible use against Iran. And, ladies and gentlemen, that is not even on U.S. news, basically. I mean, it's in the news that they had the peace deal in France by the group of 5 plus 1 meeting in Geneva. That's what they call the group, G20, G6, G7, G8, P5 plus 1, all these diplomatic terms. And they've made a deal to have inspectors dismantle any of their program above 5% enrichment. You can't do anything. You got to have 90% enrichment. This is a major, major step towards peace. And, of course, Obama is going to double-cross folks. The so-called right is responding and saying, oh, my gosh, Obama's selling us out to Iran. No, this is all meant to make it look like they've tried diplomacy before they attack Iran. Okay? And let me just give you the inside scoop. And I told you this years ago, okay? From my military sources, high level, nuclear weapons, the different components and the fissile material have been transferred by Pakistan and Russia over the last decade to Iran. Iran, for at least 6 years, has atomic warheads and delivery systems. This is a literal political distraction right now The truth is Iran is using Hezbollah to go after Israel through Syria and Lebanon and other areas. That's what this is all about. Using al-Qaeda against Syria is all about taking out Iran's ally. And again, I'm not a fan of what the mullahs are up to. I'm not a fan of Bashar Assad. But I got to be honest, Bashar Assad compared to the mullahs is very moderate. And compared to al-Qaeda, he's an angel. So it's kind of like al-Qaeda, mullahs, Assad. And then you've got publicly Israel and the United States and NATO and the French at the head of it, arming for almost 3 years. It'll be 3 years in December. Al-Qaeda forces out of Iraq, Jordan, Israel, and Turkey. Turkey's involved big time as well. All with a plan to carve up Syria in at least 2 to 3 pieces. Probably 4 or 5. Give the Kurds a piece of it, Turkey a piece of it, Iraq a piece of it, Jordan a piece of it, Israel a piece, more of the Golan, and a big water area with some aquifers and rivers they want. I mean, this is all about carving up the country and then giving al-Qaeda a small piece of it as well. I mean, that is immoral. And especially when we're losing all our rights because of the so-called al-Qaeda threat. And then meanwhile, our loving government is literally giving them heat-seeking missiles that can take down aircraft. So that's the type of issue that we're dealing with here. And I've actually studied the geopolitical ramifications of this. I read what actually comes out in the policy reports in Israel, what comes out in NATO, what the CFR reports on, what Brzezinski's saying. I mean, I really study like I'm a diplomat or something. And then I love the public who just watches football all day. I'll be like, kill them Arabs when the Iranians are Persians and stuff like that. Just having no understanding. It's like George Bush when he went, yes, we've got to defeat Iran and al-Qaeda. We've got to defeat Shiite Iran. And that would be like saying that Barack Obama was white or something, or that the Redskins were the Cowboys. I mean, it was, or that you know, Christmas is Easter or something. I mean, it's so ridiculous in the Muslim world, but even the rest of the world, to say that Iran is their arch enemy, the Sunnis. Al-Qaeda is Sunni Wahhabist. 80% of Islam is Sunni. About 1% was Wahhabist, but they took the whole thing over. Very radical group, that's Al-Qaeda. They're total arch enemies with Shiite Islam that believes you've got to have a lineage to Muhammad to be part of the priest class and all the rest of it. I'm not going to get into it. It's just that, I mean, our media thinks you're so stupid. And I guess Bush was so dumb or was lying, I don't know, that he would get up in press conferences with the president of Afghanistan, the neighbor to India, and say, we got to get Iran funding al-Qaeda. And Karzai, who's a total minion of the establishment, didn't want to buck him, but he'd be like, Your Excellency, I apologize, but those are 2 different groups, just because it was so ridiculous. And they're still doing it today, ladies and gentlemen. Our government has been hijacked by foreign banks that are dismantling our republic in front of everyone. They are literally funding al-Qaeda worldwide to take over Egypt, oust their secular government. The list goes on and on. But I'll tell you who does know about this, because they've been fighting them for so long, fighting al-Qaeda, real al-Qaeda, is our military and our special forces. They are beside themselves the last 2.5 years. And the last 6 months, they've been actually physically training them, not just delivering arms, in Jordan at giant bases. I told you that 6 months or more before it came out in the Associated Press. From my special forces context, they are literally training them in urban warfare and how to blow up police stations and kill civilians and do sabotage. And a lot of them are committing suicide instead of not following the order. Why not go public? Why not speak out? Instead, these special forces people are killing themselves instead of not following the order. Because here's the deal, they go into these training bases. This has even come out in the news. And it's jihadis that brag, oh, I killed you people in Iraq, and I'm going to go to America next. There's all these videos of them chanting, oh, we love you, bin Laden. After we take down Syria and Assad, we're coming America, we're coming Israel. And the military is in there training them and just flipping out. Can you imagine being in commando bases in Turkey and in Jordan and in Iraq, training brigade-level groups of al-Qaeda per month, 4,000 plus per month, to then lead other squads of jihadis? I mean, the military is freaking out. And you've seen them in the news speaking out, but That's why there's a major awakening, because the general public doesn't know Sunni versus Shiite. They don't know Al-Qaeda versus Hezbollah. They don't know those groups hate each other more than they even hate us. And so the general public doesn't know the three branches of government. The general public doesn't know who their congressperson is on average. The average person, I've seen statistics, like 80-something% of high school seniors don't even know who the first president was. So the establishment can just get away with all this, but with the actual operators, the actual military, I mean, they are absolutely having a meltdown, and they should be. I'm having a meltdown. I'm having a meltdown every day, being called a conspiracy theorist because I know the facts. 100%. Not my opinion. I'm right, period. And our government, especially under Obama, is just Al-Qaeda-ing Al-Qaeda. I mean, it is. And they're building a giant army of them, and even having them threaten the Russians if they don't do what the West says publicly. I'm going to explain it all when we come back. Give out the number, take your phone calls. But this could cause World War III. That's the issue. All right, we're back live. And here are the articles up on Infowars.com, Prisonplanet.com. You can follow us on Twitter at Real Alex Jones. Kurt Nimmo's article boils it all down and has the links to all the public announcements that Israel and Saudi Arabia, that runs Al-Qaeda publicly and supports them and is using them to attack their neighbors, their Shiite neighbors in Iran and in Syria, as well as trying to overthrow secular governments in places like Egypt and other areas. This is how the export revolution. Saudi Arabia didn't exist till 1933, didn't begin to exist till 1903, when a group of Bedouins got hired by British intelligence to take over areas from the Ottoman Empire. They created Saudi Arabia, and now they're going to take over the entire Middle East and make it Al-Qaeda Wahhabist. And then they're going to have Al-Qaeda attack us under orders from Saudi intelligence, and then the government will take our rights when Al-Qaeda attacks us. And they had the head of their intelligence, Prince Bandar, came out publicly to the Russian government a month ago and said, you will let us take over Syria or we'll blow up the Olympics. That's how dumb they think you are. See how that works? The Saudis attack us on 9/11. The government opens the door for it. And then they attack their enemy, secular Iraq, where the hijackers didn't even come from. I mean, this is, and Bush said that Iran is Al-Qaeda when it's the opposite group. And it's like telling a child that, you know, a puppy, it's like telling a 2-year-old that a puppy is a horse. And maybe a 2-year-old will go, okay, that's a horse. And in the rest of their life, I guess, till somebody tells them better, they'll think that a chihuahua is a horse. I mean, the American public is in the situation we're in because you're experts on baseball and football and acting cool, but you have no idea how the world really works. And I'm not talking to my usual listeners, but just the general public out there. We're in a lot of trouble here, okay? Because the Joint Chiefs of Staff are on record sending Dempsey a month and a half ago when the alternative media stopped the escalation of war against Syria and a U.S. Air Force backing Al-Qaeda publicly, that the Russians were rolling in all sorts of high-tech weapons and were saying, we've sent our ships in and we're prepared for nuclear war. Because Syria is their last port in the Mediterranean, and they understand they're going to then use Syria that borders Russia and borders the Caucasus to start injecting Al-Qaeda into the underbelly of Russia. Al-Qaeda is the black op army of British intelligence, and then now they've been adopted since 1979 by the United States and Zbigniew Brzezinski on record. They're used to take down the Serbs and take 1/3 of Serbia. That was Al-Qaeda. Serbs fought back against Al-Qaeda. The media called it slaughters. Took 1/3 of the country, gave it to Albania. That's Al-Qaeda. They use Al-Qaeda against every country. They use Al-Qaeda against Pakistan. They use Al-Qaeda against India. They use Al-Qaeda against the Russians. They use Al-Qaeda against us. This is how the big banks, how do you bring down America and Europe? You fund terrorists that blow stuff up. You're 10 parts removed so you can't get caught, even though it comes out later. You have plausible deniability, and then you re-engineer the whole society, sell tanks and robots to every police department, make everybody a potential terrorist, get rid of due process, put in naked body scanners, have total NSA spying, and then go, oh, guess what? It's not for Al-Qaeda anymore. It's for the Tea Party, gun owners, returning veterans. It's for you. This whole apparatus. I told you all before it ever happened, because the Rand Corporation, since the 80s, but particularly in the 90s, put out white papers like a National Stabilization Force. Just look that up. National Stabilization Force, Rand Corporation. How they're going to have checkpoints and how they're going to take away all our freedom and how they're going to slowly destroy America. And I've got USA Today right here, where they're buying giant armored vehicles. Look at this headline right here. I was telling folks about this years ago and then earlier this year, and they would have the White House run Media Matters and MSNBC come out and say this did not exist. 70, well, just the weapon systems cost $70,000. Heavy machine guns on the top, you name it. $500,000 a piece. Heavy armored vehicles, the heaviest new ones, delivered by Homeland Security to every major department, and they're claiming that it was surplus. No, it's not. I told you about this. So remember, they denied all of this. They denied this was going on, the billions of bullets, the training to take us on, all their training manuals. And then now they go, oh, actually, we are spying on everything you do. We are getting armored vehicles and bullets. It is for you. You are terrorists. Here it is, AP, spoils of war. Police getting leftover Iraq trucks. Yeah, leftover, right. Coming soon to your local sheriff. 18-ton armored protection military fighting vehicle. Even departments as small as a few dozen deputies. Even towns of just 4,000 or 5,000 people are getting helicopters and armored vehicles. And they're training folks for total war. And guess what all the public training manuals say? Gun confiscation. Oh, but there's nothing to worry about. Everything's fine, ladies and gentlemen. Eisenhower warned us of the technological elite that was in control of the military-industrial complex. In his full 21-minute speech, everybody just hears the thing about beware the military-industrial complex and that its threat will persist and continue to persist into the future, that they were taking over the whole culture. Because they'd just gone to Eisenhower and said, we want to stage terror attacks all over America. This was declassified in 2000. And then bring in martial law. And he said, you're all fired. That was right before he left office. And then the next group under those guys, L.L. Lemnitzer and others, went to Kennedy. And Kennedy said, you're fired. And they said, no, you're fired. And you know what they did. Eisenhower's like, no, we're not going to have a fascist coup in America. Just back in the 30s, they had the McCormick-Dickstein Committee, where the Nazis almost overthrew the U.S., but the Marine Corps top general, they tried to hire him to be the new president in the takeover. And he blew the whistle, but it would have been such a shakeup that it remained classified, but for only a couple of years. Then they had hearings on it. McCormick-Dickstein Committee. You can actually watch the old film footage. Is some of it's online, and it's some of the first film footage out from newsreels of it, with the two-time Congressional Medal of Honor winner Smedley Butler going, I was supposed to lead a team of 500,000 Marines, current and former, with the Army to overthrow the U.S. and create a fascist dictatorship. We would then link up with Adolf Hitler. You tell the average yuppie that, drooling on the side of the road, they have no idea they tried it in the late 30s, mid and late 30s. They have no idea they tried it in 1960 and then in 1963. And now they've just done it. And they think you're so stupid that I've been told they don't even care I'm on the air. That's how pathetic they think you are. I'm telling you absolute truth. On the record. And they're bringing this in, folks, because they're going to take your pension funds. All you baby boomers, you're going to get nothing when they're done. They're going to federalize it to protect it, take 20, 30% the first round. A few years later, 20, 30 more percent. By the time you're done, you'll get 10% of what you were going to get on purpose. It's already been done in Europe. But you just remember, you were told this. They're putting this in to impoverish you as a tool of political control. So I want to get your take on this. Israel and Saudi Arabia teamed up, and I guess I'm supposed to support Israel, so I salute al-Qaeda, and I support Israel. I salute Israel. And I think it's good that Israel and the U.S. and NATO are funding al-Qaeda and linked up with Saudi Arabia and are openly preparing to nuke Iran. And I think it'll be great when Russia responds and there's a nuclear war with China as well. And India and Pakistan have said they're going to nuke each other. And I think this is really a great idea. In fact, let me just give a round of applause to the establishment. This is a great idea. Wonderful plan, New World Order. Wonderful plan. Here's the only problem. The chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff actually must love his grandchildren, because he went to Obama on the eve of the strikes that we're going to start World War III. And the Pentagon was on record saying there's a good chance this will start a nuclear war. and we don't want to back al-Qaeda, and we have a mutiny of officers. Well, Obama's just purged dozens of top generals and admirals since then who wouldn't back al-Qaeda. So there's a major underground war going on, like Dr. Strangelove for real right now. Okay, and that's what matters. Not mainstream news saying peanut butter and jelly sandwiches are racist, and I'm not joking. We're going to cover that when we come back. Toll-free number to join us, 877-789-ALEX. For first-time callers, 877-789-2539. Introducing Pro One. All right, I want to start going to your calls in this segment. I've got a lot of news I haven't even begun to get into yet on Obamacare, on trying to open the borders up to further devalue the currency and bankrupt the nation as part of that plan of engineered dependency. Who can deny we've been engineered towards dependency via the plan of learned helplessness and domestication, best personified by Cloward and Piven and other sociological programs of domestication. But before I go any further, I'm going to get to this in the next hour and then into the attack on free speech in Dallas and how it's happening systematically across the world. But look at these headlines right here. 6th graders polled on gay marriage, abortion, and gun control. And that's a way to let the school then start putting their ideas into them under Common Core. And then we have copies of the Common Core federal curriculum. That's the control freaks that run the federal government that openly say your kids belong to them, asking questions like that. And then asking, are you a Republican or are you a Democrat? Indoctrinating them into the two-party system as well. This is all at Infowars.com. Here's another one. Common Core 4th grade reading. Obama biography portrays whites as racist. All whites are racist. That's Common Core. It also teaches 2 + 2 = 4. And I'm actually showing for TV viewers that are watching at prisonplanet.tv and Infowars.com/show right now. They can see copies of this. Now, again, they think you're so dumb, they can teach your kids 2 + 2 = 5 to literally screw them up so that they're dumbed down jellyfish. It's like the last decade, there have been a bunch of lawsuits around the country, you can look this up, where they don't want to hire cops with over 100 IQ, and it came out in court because they end up not following orders and asking questions. They want authoritarian people that'll follow orders. And I got to tell you, cops are different than they used to be, especially the young ones. You run into older cops or whatever, they're sharp, they're smart. They used to want smart, tough guys. Now they want dumb thugs. That doesn't mean all departments follow this, but the big ones do. They want idiots. And it is very frightening to see what's happening to this country. Very frightening. Now, I bring you to this next piece right here. Now, I was out of town Wednesday night when this broke, and I went to the Portland Tribune. When I heard it on the radio, even I didn't believe this, but I went there and it's true. You heard how all over the country now they're saying that paper bags are not allowed, brown ones, because that might hurt brown people's feelings. I'm not kidding. It's like if I had a black car, it's going to make Panthers feel bad or something. Now, again, this is done on purpose. These are not idiots. These political correct folks want to make everything bad, except all the real discrimination against all of us by foreign offshore banks, robbing our future, devaluing our dollar, getting tens of trillions in the last few years of our taxpayer money to bail out their fraudulent derivatives instead of them going to jail. So they want us divided on sex, on race, on religion, and then in the name of fighting the division, they then bring more of it in. They are racialist. I was on Coast to Coast AM last night with John B. Wells, and he made that point, and I knew this, but never say it on air, so I'm glad he reminded me. There are racists that are the toothless idiots, but then there are the racialists and the poverty pimps on record, and this is all in the Ford Foundation documents, this is public, that literally create liberation theology and make everyone think they're going to have success by being in a group because then they can just run the leaders of those groups. The last thing they want is you thinking as an individual. Like, I'm a liberty lover and an artist and a father, not a white guy. But see, if they can just get the minority groups to attack me as a white guy, I'll then only think as a white guy, and then whatever establishment white leader there is, that's what I'll go with. Instead of, hey, you're Hispanic, I'm white, or whatever, black, we want Bill of Rights, we want Second Amendment, we want family values, we want national sovereignty, we're friends, we're together, we're just the same. Oh, no, 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 no. Well, why, if you're a libertarian, you're secretly a racist. Why, if you're in the NRA, you're a Klan member. That's what they say as a talking point. When the NRA was founded to arm newly freed black slaves who were being attacked by the Klan. Fact. But see, they know that, so they flip it on its head. These are known liars, folks. These are race pimps. And sure, the mainline Republican Party, they'll do race ads and stuff, too, in politics. But, I mean, the Democratic Party are the masters of it. And I'm not even a Republican. The point is the Democratic Party is the vanguard, the cutting edge of the collectivization, balkanization of America. And here it is out of the Portland Tribune. The teachers literally bully the elementary, middle school students, that's K through 8, and they teach them that peanut butter and jelly sandwiches are racist because it may hurt Somali or Hispanic students because another culture's food is hurtful to them. You can go read it, folks, and you're like, wow, that's crazy. But your kid doesn't know it's crazy and literally comes home and then starts bossing you around. And so what it's saying is all cultures are good, but Western culture. The sandwich invented by the Earl of Sandwich, I don't know, 600 years ago. He liked to play poker and would tell them so he didn't have to sit down and eat all daintily. Hell, Europeans only started using knives and forks about 600, 700 years ago, too. So, yes, the sandwich is bad. I really apologize. Again, just hyper-aware. Oh, that sandwich. I've told you, I've been at Barton Springs, a big swimming hole, where sometimes there's 1,000 people at it, but it was like 500 people there that day. And there was a Hispanic guy and 2 white guys. And the Hispanic guy goes, they were obviously stoned out of their gourd. And they were totally been smoking weed, you could tell. And they're like, hey, man, let's go to that great Chinese food place. One guy goes, one of the white guys goes to the Hispanic, goes, don't say Chinese, that's racist. And they were all looking around. I mean, listen, they think language now is racist, folks. The public's so dumbed down, we're just afraid, okay, I won't have a paper bag, I won't have a... Remember it started in San Francisco, now it's all over the country, where they tell you can't wear American flag shirts because it hurts the Hispanics' feelings. Most Hispanics want to be Americans anyways, but it's the radical nationalism of Mexico saying Mexico, Mexico, so don't wear an American flag. You can pull that up. Students sent home for wearing American flags. Guys, search it. Listeners won't believe it. This is the magnitude of what I'm talking about. We're going to come back from break and go to your phone calls. First-time callers, of course, the number's 877-789-2539, 877-789-2539. There it is. Fox News, California students sent home for wearing U.S. flags on Cinco de Mayo. But then it came out on NBC News. It was period. And by the way, they were Hispanic students, too. So that's what it comes down to. Total division, ladies and gentlemen, where we're all divided and the establishment is unified and screwing us. Now, I got something exciting I'm going to announce here. It's a preliminary deal. I really want to roll this out because it is exciting. If you're a TV viewer, you can see it. It's at InfoWarsStore.com. We have come out, and this is 2 years in the making, because I was going to work with one company. This is the best coffee I've ever drunk. And I got to tell you, ever drank. It is racist, though. One of the packages is a brown paper bag, organic style bag. So it is very racist. So it is politically incorrect. I apologize. The other one's black. It's even worse. Well, the white lettering is against white people, too. And the blue is against people with blue eyes. So, and the red is against Native Americans, the American flag on it. So I apologize. It's very racist, folks. Cancer viruses and all our vaccines killing us, that's against all of us. That's not a problem. Half the blacks being aborted before they're born is not an issue. The black bag is racist. But the point is, I've come out with Wake Up America immune support that's got these incredible immune-boosting mushrooms in it. This is from the Chiapas Mountains in Mexico, the purest organic coffee. I've drunk hundreds of different types of coffee. This is my favorite. It took me 2 years to secure it. I've only got a certain amount of bags in and packaged. It will probably sell out. Then I won't have any more until the next coffee season. This is my favorite coffee. 2 different blends. It's Arabica, Way better than Guatemalan because it's in the same type of mountains, but even better for Mexico, as organic as it gets, and it supports the Mexican farmers down there as well, and then it's roasted in Colorado, so it's really racist for supporting Hispanic farmers down there. But it's Wake Up America Immune Support, 100% organic blend with mushrooms, and Wake Up America Patriot Blend, 100% organic. Read details at InfoWarsStore.com or call toll-free. You can buy it in bulk, discounted. It's very affordable, but it's the highest quality coffee. Most coffee, this quality, is double the price, folks. InfoWarsStore.com. All right, if you just joined us, we're going to go to your phone calls now. And then at the bottom of the hour, I will break down the historic events that we saw unfold at 50th anniversary in Dallas of the murder of JFK and the censorship, the attempted censorship of the population that failed, but then the feds in the end threw a fit, ordered their federalized sheriff's deputies to attack us, even though the Dallas police chief opened up the grounds like they were supposed to, just to the blocks around Dealey Plaza, to then let us in to be part of the People's Memorial. So I'm going to be talking about that at the bottom of the hour. But right now, we've got Chris and Matthew and Bob and Mordecai and Steve and Mark and Jake and William and many, many others who have called in. It's always good to hear the ladies call in. Love to hear you call in once a line is open. And again, the number to join us is 877-789-ALEX, 877-789-2539. Let's go to Matthew in Texas, first-time caller. Welcome and thanks for calling in.
Hello, brother.
Hey, brother.
I wanted to talk about they're trying to start World War III again, aren't they?
Yes, and the Russians are not blinking. And again, I'm not a Russian. I'm pro-America. But if foreign banks run my country and are trying to start World War III and the Russians aren't starting it, we're in the wrong, and we've got to go after the people that have basically seized our government. And so, I mean, I'm with the Russians against starting a giant war.
So am I. I learned from last time when they said that Assad bombed his own people and chemical weaponed his own people, that we need to go over there and pretty much start World War III. Well, none of the people wanted to do that, and we pretty much stopped them by not giving our consent to them.
No, that was a huge victory a couple of months ago when the whole world just got angry, and the American people across the political spectrum came together, black, white, Hispanic, Asian, old, young, Republican, Democrat, Libertarian, conservative, led by the military, and said, we're not going to do an air war for al-Qaeda. And so Obama's trying to covertly arm al-Qaeda right now. It's just incredible.
Well, we have to be careful watching the news on the television, because from Fox News to MSNBC, everybody wanted to go to war in Syria on the TV, but nobody wanted to go to war by the people. None of us wanted to go to war.
By the way, I mean, it'll be 3 years in December that the West has been spending hundreds of millions of dollars every couple of months on the record. It's more than that, off record, giving weapons. High-impact weapons is what the insiders call them. High-energy weapons, missiles, howitzers, rocket launchers. They're giving them, medium weapons, high-impact weapons to attack a legitimate government and people. And then they'll blame their atrocities on Assad when, again, compared to most dictators, Assad is very velvet-fisted. And I don't agree with how they run things there, but he began to democratize just like Libya did, and they used that to then infiltrate him. They got him in peace talks with Kerry on record, got him to let in the West, got him to open up, got him to, and then look what happened. So same thing with Gaddafi 8 years ago or 9 years ago. He invested their money with the West, gave up his weapons, worked with everybody, let U.S. companies in, French companies in. They stole the people's money that was invested in European and U.S. banks, sent in al-Qaeda, and set him up. So what does that tell Iran? Should they make peace deals? No, they shouldn't, but they've still done it, and they'll probably be set up now. And I'm not for the Iranian government, but I'm not for nuking the Iranian people that are very pro-America on average.
Well, what happened when they said, we know exactly where those weapons of mass destruction are, and we got to go get them? They were never there.
Well, then they argue they got taken into Iran or Syria. The point is these countries have a right to have that. And Saddam used the chemical weapons on the Kurds during the Iran-Iraq war under CIA orders and direction. So if he's guilty, they're guilty. I mean, I'm just sick of this, the evil policies. Why does the United States spend the largest... Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Central, we have the live, big weekday transmission, but that's not enough in the InfoWar. Then I'm back, weeknights, 7 o'clock Central with my team. InfoWars Nightly News, details at Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.tv. And then, of course, Sunday, live, 4 to 6 p.m. Central, with a 2-hour news update transmission. We're going to your phone calls. Then, huge new developments on Obozo Care. We're going to get into China. Doesn't have to cut any of their emissions. Only the West does, which is an unfair trade advantage. And the globalists are all moving our factories there, so that's part of that plan. We're going to look at the plan to try to get rid of the borders and have total amnesty. And under No Child Left Behind, they're teaching that all white people are racist and peanut butter and jelly sandwiches are racist, so you better prove you're not racist and vote to totally open the borders so hundreds of millions of people can come in and get free welfare and then get given driver's license to vote and vote to take your guns. I mean, that's the basic plan, political colonization. And we're going to be breaking that down as well here today. But now let's go to your calls quickly. Bob in California, you're on the air. Welcome. Everybody always listens to their radio. It's a fun thing they do, and it's delayed about. Let him go. Let him go. Let's go to Chris in Florida. Chris, you're on the air. Welcome.
Yeah, how you doing, Alex? This is Chris. I went to the End of Fed rally. I met you. I was one of the black guys that took a picture with you that night.
Well, it was great to meet all the folks that were out there. What did you think of our In the Fed rally that we first had in Dallas 2 days before the 50th anniversary? Beautiful.
I wish I could have stayed there, but I'm a trucker, so I picked up a load from Houston, Texas, heading to Plainview, Texas, and I diverted my route to Dallas to be there with you. But I want to talk about what happened after you left. There was a goon squad. I know you heard about it. They showed up, and there was a nice young lady. You know, she had a baby, and the guys, they was lined up one in back of each other. It was like a group of 6 of them, but they was all together, and they was lined up one after the other. And the guy, you know, you would call him a pedo if you would have seen him. He literally had his hand on his gun, and I'm like, you know, look, I can still carry, man, and I didn't like what happened to you in New York, and I feel like if you was a listener, someone has to have your back when these criminals are, you know, trying to take your life.
No, I hear you, but here's the deal. Just like Gandhi, letting them attack us gives us the moral high ground, and most police aren't bad, but historically in Guatemala or North Korea, they hire criminals, and that's what we're converting to, and they hire people that are really cowardly, on average now, who want the badge and the gun because they feel powerless. Because a powerful person would be embarrassed with a woman and a child. We were a very peaceful crowd out there. And then I left after an hour and a half, and I'm told then some riot police showed up. But then nothing happened. And you know, overall, the Dallas police, as thug-like as they are, and some of them were, they're nothing compared to what I've seen being arrested in New York and other areas. And the Dallas police chief, you know, on the day of the JFK event, did follow the judge's order and let us in after the events. So they just had the feds, federalized sheriff's deputies, and attack us. And it's all on video, and then the news lied about it. But it is frustrating. But I do remember meeting you. You were talking about you were a truck driver that drove here specifically to be at the event. And, yeah, we had 3 different marches. They were all a great success because if you don't use the First Amendment, you lose it. God bless you, sir. You will lose the First Amendment if you don't use it. And that's why, I mean, imagine black folks and the white folks and others that marched with them in the 50s and 60s, you know, saying you can't eat at a lunch counter, you can't ride at the front of the bus, you can't drink out of a water fountain, or you can't go to the bathroom. You can go to the black bathrooms, but there aren't black bathrooms anywhere. I mean, it was doubly bad. You got to go in the woods, you know, behind the store. Well, it's the same thing. Oh, the mayor said you can't hand out flyers anywhere in the city, and you can't have signs, we'll arrest you. Well, then folks went to court and sued over it, so he had to back off. But he was still ordering the cops to tell people they couldn't hand out flyers, and most police wouldn't do it. In fact, I'd walk up to senior police and say, you know, arrest people for flyers? Nope, because it's not illegal. Well, the mayor says it is. Well, talk to him then. And they'd start laughing and, you know, walk away. So Look, folks, if the police violate people's rights, they're losing their own rights. It's really that simple. I mean, talk about bad luck. Talk about political suicide. Talk about burning down your own house. I mean, come on. And by and large, most police, again, my experience on the show is we get our best tips from police. But it's normally medium-sized cities and towns and small towns. The big cities, it just gets worse. Let's go to another caller here. Let's talk to Chris. I thought we just talked to Chris in Florida. Let's talk to Mordecai in California. Mordecai, you're on the air.
Thank you, Alex.
Yes, sir.
One way to get more listeners is to go to our city councils. And on Tuesday, I went to the San Francisco Board of Supervisors and mentioned your show and things you were selling and such, because it's a way to magnify our efforts because it goes on the web. But you said something that I'd like you to embellish on for 5 to 10 minutes if you could. I mean, it's how our troops are committing suicide when they're being forced to train the Al-Qaeda troops. Did you say that? Our troops
yes, I mean, you know that there's a 7-fold increase, according to, I think it was Reuters did a story last year, a 7-fold increase in the previous record suicides from 1974 during the collapse in Vietnam and then the fall of Saigon. And you can pull that up by searching record suicides and then talking to the troops themselves. You've heard them call in, but I know them personally. A lot of their buddies, get sent for a 3rd or 4th tour, or they're told, I mean, it is U.S. forces on record training Al-Qaeda at commando bases. That's mainstream news. That they just kill themselves instead of speaking out against the mission. And they've published letters when they kill themselves that we've read on air that have made national news of why they killed themselves. And they say, we're helping Al-Qaeda. We run the drugs. This is an evil mission. I've done horrible things in the name of freedom, but we really serve evil. And so people could say that, I shouldn't do this, but this is a decision I need to make to punish myself, stuff like that. And you shouldn't kill yourself. You should speak out. It's like if you've had an abortion and then you realize it was wrong, you should speak out against abortion and save other babies, not go kill yourself or beat yourself over the head. Repent for it. Yeah, that's the intel on that, sir.
Exactly, because if they're going to kill you, they're going to kill you, but you don't know if they're going to kill you. So speak out. Speak out. Repent and believe in Jesus, and that's all you can do.
Well, no, just exactly speak out and then just get out of the military. But, I mean, look, now they brought in Qataris and Saudi special forces to train the Al-Qaeda because it's come out that the U.S. military just has been refusing to do it. Again, these guys, it's been in the BBC and stuff where they brag in front of them, I killed a bunch of you in Iraq, and I'm going to kill more when I'm done. And the troops are just like, I mean, these Al-Qaeda people are arrogant, folks. And a lot of them speak English. And, I mean, they are just disgusting. Have you seen all the videos of them murdering people in Egypt and Syria where they throw the little kids off the roofs? Have you seen them killing the Christian kids and all that?
No, I haven't.
Type in Al-Qaeda throwing people off roofs in Egypt. You'll get it. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable.
In San Jose, I went over there to the troops a couple of weeks ago and asked them about how you had said that the Fort Hood was teaching that Christians would be court-martialed if they gave to Christian groups and or the Tea Party, and how the Christians are stuff. And they said they hadn't heard anything about it, and they were against that. That was the place over there on Alpha.
Well, I mean, let's be clear. What I mentioned was in Fox News and the Associated Press. We just broke it. That indeed, Fort Hood, they were being taught you can't be part of the Tea Party or evangelical, you'll be court-martialed. And that anybody can just type that in. Christian troops threatened with court-martial. All right, we'll be back with your phone calls. Stay with us, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, if you think the country's bankrupt now, wait till another 30 million illegal aliens have been legalized and are getting all the welfare and stuff. And if you don't like paying for it, you're racist. And if you don't believe known liars like Obama, that Obamacare would cut your premiums in half and wouldn't kick anybody off their health plan, well, if you don't believe that, you're a racist and a conspiracy theorist. You don't have to intellectually, counter us. Nobody tells us, hey, good job, you were right about Obamacare. No, it's like, you're a racist. Obamacare is free, and it really works well. Conspiracy theorists, shut up. Doesn't matter if 99% of the people, the hundreds I talked to Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday in Dallas, on the street doing live broadcasts, during the radio show, on the nightly news, and other special broadcasts we did, and other special streams we did, 99%. I mean, I think I ran into, out of several hundred people I talked to, just randomly on the streets of Dallas or at the Grassy Knoll, 2 people out of several hundred that said they hadn't made their mind up. Like 99% believe the government killed Kennedy. Criminal elements did. I ran into cops from New York, cops from Oklahoma, firemen from California, from Boston. You saw them on the television feed and heard them on the radio. Marines, Army people. I ran into a retired Marine Corps colonel just laughing. Of course they killed him. Of course they shot him from the front. Back of his head blows off. I mean, but we still feel like we're alone. Because the mainstream media still has some people thinking those of us that don't buy their lies are the minority. Gallup poll showed last month 16% of Americans trust the mainstream media. Over 50% trust the alternative media. We are the media. Let me tell you something, folks. The big newsrooms, the TV stations, the newspapers, they're all going bankrupt. And they're not going bankrupt because of the internet, folks. If they were putting out real news and real research, they'd be #1 with the money and the facilities and what they had. And instead, all these new real journalists and researchers and pundits are rising up, building operations that are growing like ours. InfoWars is exploding with the traffic to our websites, to the radio stations that pick us up, to the credibility. And we're not the only ones. There are hundreds of groups that you could call liberal, conservative, libertarian, but that are pro-liberty and who actually report on what's going on. Maybe they have their own slant or perspective. Everybody does. You can't help that. But at least it's not pure lies. And we are dominating the corporatist, dinosaur, kleptocrat, state-run media. But the state-run media is still arrogant. I'm going to get into that later. I want to go back to your calls right now. And I've got the immigration news here. But right now we're going to Steve in Ohio, then Mark, Jake, John, Clifford, Dee, and Edward. Steve, you're on the air. Go ahead.
How's it going tonight, Alex?
All right, brother. Thanks for calling.
I watched you guys over there at the Grassy Knoll, and I wish you guys could have heard me because I was desperately trying to think of a way to get a hold of you guys to tell you to look behind you. Because right behind you, as they were pushing you guys back from the fence, there was about 150 to 175 more guys standing back there. They were trying to cut you guys off and push it to the left for some reason. I don't know what was to your left.
No, I know. The Dallas Sheriff's Department, with the Dallas police literally going, what are you doing? They're supposed to be here. The police chief had sent us there. It wasn't a setup. We now know. The Dallas police were freaked out after this happened. In fact, I'm going to tell the story later. The point is that they were trying to push us up against the building, and the people they got up against buildings, people that weren't resisting them, like people with their kids, little kids were crying, being shoved, and it got harder and harder. People were falling down. They weren't even resisting, and they didn't even say go before they started. And they were trying to push us back towards the left, and you're right. There were more deputies. They were trying to kettle us. That's what members of our crew were pointing out, Rob Dew and others, that they were trying to kettle us. And John Baum was watching from the hotel because he was going up the elevator and heard 2 senior deputies going, yeah, that troublemaker Jones is out there. We're going to get him. And, yeah, he's trying to mess up the memorial. The memorial had been over by then, at that time, about an hour. And it was totally dead out there, no one out there. The police chief's like, you're right. Judge says we're supposed to open up the barricades after the memorial's cleaned out. We'll open up Dealey for you 30 minutes after that. Appreciate you, Mr. Jones. The guy was like really smiling at me and nice body language. I didn't even know it was the police chief. And I later looked him up. It was the police chief. He sent us in. We come back and senior police were like, shame on you. And they go, it's not us. It's the sheriff's deputies. But so you were watching the live streams. I haven't had time to watch any of this. I was in the middle of it. What did you see?
Well, I saw them, number one, the one time they were trying to corral you. Number two, I saw the little bald-headed dude, the little fat Porky Pig looking guy that punched you in the stomach.
Yes.
Oh, I saw him plain as day. I mean,
by the way, we've been calling him a pig monster or a goblin, not because he's a cop. He was like 5 feet tall, 400 pounds.
Right, yeah, he kind of looked like Porky Pig.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, and I saw that plain as day.
Well, that was the deal. They started it out by punching me in the stomach first, and they had 3 cops shoving me, twisting my arm behind my back. And I've now seen part of the video. I can't watch it all. It makes me too angry. And I'm like, hey, what's wrong? They let us in here. They're supposed to. And this is 30 minutes after we're let in, just sitting there waiting to go into Dealey Plaza itself. I know, it's amazing. I was pretty blown away because I've seen, one guy throw a bottle at the cops and they attack everybody, and that's wrong. But at least something happened. We did nothing. We were assaulted. And then, of course, I got mad once I saw him pushing kids. And then I said, all right, that's it. I've had enough. And I said, everybody, let's just get ready. And then somebody gave him an order to back off as soon as we were ready to fight him. The weird thing was I made the decision. I said, all right, everybody, they want it. They're going to get it. Because I saw him attacking this little girl, and then I felt shamed that I was cowardly in letting him do this. And then they backed off. It was very weird. Very weird. What do you think was going on?
You know something? I don't know. I got like 3 or 4 different types of feelings. Like it's really strange. It's like you said. They said that you were allowed in. I watched them open it up. You guys started to go in, and then a bunch of them just said, there ain't no way in heck you're out of here. And then I watched a little bit further, and then that's when they started, the physical. And I did see the guy with the little 4-year-old girl on his shoulders. They pushed him, and she fell off of his shoulder backwards.
See, I was told she fell off and hit the ground. I didn't see that. I saw him with her crying and the cops still shoving him. Man, I tell you, I'm a coward. Well, this country's gone. We should let them beat up little girls now. It's all over. This country's done. This country's done, man.
If I was active duty again, Alex, you also know me as Sergeant Freedom. If I was active duty again with my people, those cops would have never touched any one of you. I can guarantee it. I
just can't believe it wasn't like they were accidentally shoving little kids. It was like giant police attacking children. We got to go through all the footage. I just can't even. I can't even watch it. I just can't. I can't even look at it. I just can't believe how screwed up this country is. The government runs Al-Qaeda. The government runs the drugs. The feds federalized this special unit of county police to attack us. It's just sick. Introduce. All right, I'm going to go back to your phone calls. We're going to go through all the footage we have. We streamed 4 different live streams, sometimes simultaneously, usually about 2 at a time, out to Ustream. So many of you saw it. I was there. I haven't watched much of it. Quite frankly, I've tried to look at it, and I did at a point when they kept attacking people, and I found out they were pushing people, and I saw them pushing some crying little kid. I threw down my microphone and I said, come on, let's go, you cowards. And then the police actually ran. They scattered like roaches. We have this all on video. It was weird. They like snuck attack us, pushed us 200 yards around the corner from the original barricades where the Dallas police chief ordered them open for us. And then the federalized, we later confirmed, the Dallas police told us this, but we went and checked it. It's true. The federalized sheriff has special units for, I guess, special events that were under the feds. They came out of the federal building garage, came over. The Dallas police are like, what are you doing? They're supposed to be here. The thing's over. And then they started talking, and then they just ignored those police, pushed in front of them. And I remember, because it was about 60 or 70 of us by that point, because we'd had about 300 folks that met us to rally. This was like 4 hours later, because we were live before the radio show even began, streaming about an hour before. Then we'd done 3 hours of radio. We'd already gone into overdrive. It was past 2 o'clock. The event had been over for almost an hour. They'd opened up the first line of barricades. We hadn't even gotten to Dealey Plaza yet. We're totally peaceful, just sitting there waiting for about 20 minutes with the Dallas police, actually having friendly discussions with them. But I made one joke at a Federal Protective Services guy that was bugging his eyes out and acting really weird and trying to give the Dallas police orders and whispering. And I said, oh, it's the royalty, the royal Fed. He got mad, went off, and then brought the federalized people. And so what if I'm sitting there making jokes and stuff? I mean, I'm a human being. I have a First Amendment. On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the nicest demonstration or crowd, 10 being the meanest, we were about a 2, and the Dallas police were about a 2. We weren't perfect, they weren't perfect, but about as good as you could imagine. I mean, that's what happened. And we were out there demonstrating 2 days before that with the Dallas police. And I told the Dallas police, I said, I'm not getting a permit. It's unconstitutional. I'm not going to block streets. And I'm not going to bullhorn during the memorial. I don't want to take it over. That would look bad. But afterwards, the judges ruled we get to go in. They're like, all right, Alex, but don't do it or we're going to arrest you. That was all on TV and radio with the police detective. So then I go up. They had 2 cops during the hour-long ceremony standing beside me. About halfway through, they just left. They figured out, I guess they went and looked up the fact that I go to England, I go to Canada. I always do what I say I'm going to do. I mean, I just am a man of my word here. I'm here to uphold free speech, folks, and speak out against the globalist. I have that right. That's what keeps us free, is all of us speaking out. You have First Amendment as well. And so then the Dallas police chief comes out, and I think that's the chief, the way everybody's acting and the insignias he's got. He came over and he said, yeah, I know you're supposed to be let in. Let me make some calls, make sure it's time to do that. And 30 minutes later, he comes back and he goes, yep, they're opening up all the barricades right now, so it's go on in. We go in. And I could hear him talking 30 minutes before. He goes, no, we are supposed to, but let me get the green light that everybody's cleared out first so they're not getting mixed up with the folks leaving. He's like 6 feet from me. In fact, we probably have audio of this when I was broadcasting. The police chief's right there over the line because we marched right up where the main police group was, and they had the jumbotrons and the loudspeakers for folks that weren't allowed in to hear it because a lot of Dallas wasn't allowed in. You had to agree with the official story to get in. And then we get let in. I'm kind of going back and forth in the story. That's how it is when you tell a true story. It's just there's all these memories. And so we're there about 20 minutes or so. We've gone through one of the open barricades now. We're waiting to go into Dealey Plaza. Not that it even matters, but just to point out, here's where they had the staged event. Here's where they kept everybody out. It was totally cleared out by then. You know how fast a stadium clears out. It cleared out faster than that. I mean, it cleared out in like 5 minutes. We were standing there for, 40 minutes before we got let in and about 20 minutes before that. So it was about an hour. It's totally clear. The streets are open. The barricades are open. The Dallas cops are sitting there bored. I'm going, hey, you hungry? Yeah, well, the sooner they let us in, the sooner you can go in. We've already been here yesterday bullhorning. We just don't like the fact they closed it down. How's it going? Some cops are like, hey, Alex, how you doing? These are Dallas cops. Here come the people in the black uniforms. And I hear booing to my left, and I go, hey, don't boo the police. This was live on the radio. Don't boo the police. All of a sudden, this really evil-looking cop comes up, 2 of them. They get right in my face, and they're looking at me like they absolutely hate me. They look like convicts, bad guys out of movies, not like normal cops, and they've got their name tags off. And I go, and I've seen this video, and the video's on Infowars.com. I go, hey, well, what's going on? We were let in here. We're supposed to be here. Boom, punches me right in the stomach. Well, luckily, I'd already tensed up instinctively. Didn't even really hurt. And you see me start laughing on the video because this cop looks so evil and so pathetic. But then they start twisting my arm behind my back and shoving me. I see him shove some guy into a sign and go, move, move, while he's bleeding, ramming his head in. And then I look over and see some little girl crying and all this stuff. And John, while I'm talking, you could show some of the video of that and show some of the stills. So I saw him choking women, choking men. A very famous person was there, I can now announce. Stanley Kubrick's daughter, a big filmmaker in her own right, Vivian Kubrick. And you can see the guy in red right there on screen being choked. By the way, we interviewed Vivian Kubrick. We already hung out with her the night before. She's not done interviews but once in like a decade. Stanley Kubrick's daughter, who worked on so many of his films with him. We have a big interview with her that's going to premiere on the radio tomorrow. That'll be national news, by the way. But long story short, she was all the way back, never even got involved in it, and cops came over and would basically punch her in the back and do pressure points. And she was going, and they were still attacking her. So all of this is happening, total insanity, and it just got weirder and weirder and weirder. And the video you're seeing is just when it started. It got worse and worse and worse as it went all the way down the street and around the corner. And I'm told we have the footage, but we're converting it now because it's high def, of the girl falling off, being pushed off her dad's shoulder, and all the rest of it, with these police that just absolutely wanted to physically attack us. And so we're going to have all that for folks in the next few days. But everybody saw the live feeds, and that's basically what happened there. But it's a great example of, it didn't matter what David O. Brown did. It didn't matter what the Dallas judge said. that, no, the mayor can't keep people out 2 days before and 2 days after out of the Dealey Plaza area. You got to open it up as soon as it's done. And you can't stop people from handing out flyers. And so the police followed the Constitution, did what they were supposed to do, let us in. And the Fed said, it doesn't matter what you want. We're going to go attack Alex Jones. And I want to bring John Bown in, and then also Nico, who John Bown was on the ground. Nico was here running the show live in Austin, mixing all these different live feeds we had of video and audio. John, tell folks briefly, you're getting on the elevator, you hear two senior deputies with the feds. What did they say about me? And then you went up to the room to look out to see what was going to happen, because we had that as a bird's eye view of the hotel from just 200 yards away. You shot the video that we have that's online of what happened from above. Tell them what they said about me. Because the ceremony had been done for an hour. Nobody was there. But in their own minds, you heard them say, he's disrupted the ceremony. We're going to get him.
Yeah, there were two deputies sitting there in the lobby of the Hotel Lawrence, and they both were talking about how you were an extremist and how you were ruining everything, and you know, how you were a jerk. And as I got onto the elevator and went up to see what was going on, I saw you guys coming across the street, and that's where I started to. That's how I got
the footage from the top floor. Let's bring in Nico. We're going to break in a minute, but Nico, I mean, you were there. You saw it. There's video as well, but you heard me say, hey, don't boo at the police. Remember that? And then the next I get punched in the stomach for saying that.
Yeah, they totally caught you guys off guard. You heard people booing, and you were like, what, why are people booing? We're not booing. We're not bad people. You know, what's going on here? You know, and they just started pushing you. They didn't ask anybody to leave. They just started pushing.
That's right. And again, the footage we have, the first video we live streamed, that's pretty bad. There's a bunch of other live streams. I haven't looked at it all. It's hours of stuff combined. But I mean, what I saw was ramming heads into the concrete, blood, punching people in the face, punching me. We've got them shoving and attacking people. But it was just really disgusting. And it was illegal what they did. If you did that to cops, you'd be charged with felonies. So now everything's backwards. With the government's God, we're scum, just like North Korea or Mexico. We'll be back with your calls.
Broadcasting worldwide.
You know,
it's Alex Jones.
That reminds me of my buddy Mike Judge will be back in town this week from L.A. We're going to have to go out and see some live music or something for Thanksgiving. Me and Weldon were talking about hooking up with him and Scotty. Because I tell you, wherever the best music is, Mike Judge knows where it's at. My good buddy Jimmy Vaughn, who's a legendary guitarist and blues icon who got his brother Stevie Ray Vaughan started in music, has said that Mike Judge is one of the best guitar players he knows. Ladies and gentlemen, he's not just the icon of Beavis and Butthead, Idiocracy, King of the Hill, and so much more. And he's a great Texan as well. Ladies, I don't know, just every time I hear that, that's the real Mike Judge doing that intro right there. You can see our interview with him in video on Infowars.com. Listen, bottom line, this is what's happening. There's always a struggle between tyranny and liberty. And the evil is always trying to take over organizations. And America's future rises and falls with the citizens acting like free humans. If you act like slaves, you'll be slaves. But our destiny also rises and falls with the police and the military. And I got to say, versus even the common citizens, the police, anybody, the best people, and I didn't even talk about this for the last 6-7 years till I discovered it. The best are our military. They are the most awake, the most informed, because they've been there, folks. They've seen what's going on behind the curtain. And even though I criticize police all day, because they have an important role, and the globalists are trying to corrupt them right now, they need to get themselves together and really face up to the fact, by every yardstick, America's going into tyranny. And if you can't hand out flyers in Dallas, Texas, or have signs, like this one I'm holding for TV viewers, says the establishment killed me 50 years ago, and now they're killing free speech with a picture of Kennedy. The people are fighting back. I mean, they tried to stop us from handing out flyers and having signs that said this until the judge intervened. And this just shows that the mayor is not the dictator of Dallas. And they're trying this stuff from Australia to Canada, from the United States to Germany, from Mexico to you name it. This is what happens. Remember Tiananmen Square? In fact, I sent you guys the image. It's on our Twitter account, too, but it's on our live JFK coverage page, the Fight for Free Speech. Just type in the Fight for Free Speech, JFK, Infowars.com. You can see the promo we made Wednesday when I left of Tiananmen Square and the tank saying, don't let this happen in Dallas. And they really tried to do that in Dallas. If we would have physically fought back like the Chinese people did, if we would have resisted that tyranny, then they would have brought in guns and then tanks. I mean, it could have turned into Tiananmen Square, and then that would turn into 1776. This won't go like China where they're disarmed. I don't have any dreams of that happening. I don't want a violent revolution. But as Kennedy said, those that make peaceful revolution impossible make violent revolution inevitable. It comes down to that. And there is a criminal revolution happening by foreign banks and corporations that have diplomatic immunity, that are anti-free market combine operators, that are abolishing our Bill of Rights and our Constitution right now. And if they can control the government, they can control the markets and shut down their competition. We're going into fascism on the top, socialism on the bottom. That's the real political structure. They're above the law. We have to change that. And it just comes down to this. The feds wanted us to know we don't have free speech. It was the feds in Seattle in '99 that hired anarchists to attack the police so they could then attack the entire crowd of 60,000. It's the feds caught shipping guns into Mexico to blame the Second Amendment. It's the feds caught running Al-Qaeda. They're not feds. They're criminals in the federal government. There's a lot of good people in the federal government. I had CIA people come up to me, and I could tell they were real CIA. I had FBI, federal marshals. I had federal protective services in uniform, but once our cameras are off, say, listen, we appreciate what you're doing for America and our freedom. We're really concerned, too, and we don't like what's going on here. But it didn't matter. They had a group of 50 goons from the sheriff's department that looked like they'd been bathing in steroids to come attack us and attack little kids. So, you know what? I feel sorry for the people that if the Civil War does start, man, I tell you what, all you tough guys that have been busy pulling old ladies over and stuff, you got another thing coming. And the Special Forces folks out there, on record, they say if it starts, you try some purge, they're going to go right at the tip of the spear. And they say that's you. And all I know is I'm going to keep my head down and stay out of it. I mean, I cannot believe what's happened here. They are teaching children in public school that Mao Zedong is a great guy. Mao Zedong killed 80+ million people, folks. This country has been overrun by criminals, and they're trying to get the police to do horrible things. And my God, have some simple common sense, self-preservation, police, and act more like the military and start saying no to all this BS. The military told Obama, we're not going to back al-Qaeda in Syria. We're done. And even the hawk they appointed, because he did whatever he was told, said no. The chairman of the Joint Chiefs, because there was a good chance nuclear war was going to happen. This isn't a game. The whole world's lining up for another world war, ladies and gentlemen. Historically, even mainline analysts are saying it. And I get scared to death watching this happen. I just want to have prosperity. I want to have a future. I don't want a civil war to start. But, I mean, you can't keep... It really freaked me out because when these cops were attacking and pushing people, even past the second barricade, and we've been let in by the Dallas police chief, and here were the feds with their minions violating the law, attacking us, I was clicking that, my God, I'm not afraid of these people at all. I'm afraid of what I'm about to do. And I knew full well what type of folks were in the crowd and what was going to happen. But we were the better men there, and the better women and the better children. And I don't want to think of the police as bad. I don't hate the police. I'm ashamed as an American that we've fallen this far. I'm ashamed. I'm ashamed. I know we have loaded phone lines. Mark in Kentucky, Jake, John, Clifford, D, Edward, Arthur, Brandon. I don't think we can do overdrive. Can we do a little bit of overdrive to be sure to get to all these calls? I don't know. I need to plug, too, we fund ourselves, not with taxpayer money like MSNBC or NPR. Oh, MSNBC gets taxpayer money, too, stimulus money, with high-quality products. Over a decade ago, I discovered my favorite coffee, Chiapan shade-grown mountain coffee, high mountain coffee. Better than Guatemalan. They've been my favorite previous. But it was gourmet and super expensive. About double the price of this. Then I found another brand that was less but not quite as good. I finally secured, directly from Mexico, roasted by a great roasting house in Colorado, the best coffee, I believe, out there, Arabica beans. We have one that's immune support with these high-quality mushrooms that are on record to boost immunity. Wake Up America, immune support, 100% organic blend. Mushroom roast. We have that available by the pound at InfoWarsStore.com. It's the latest product from InfoWarsLife.com. You can also find it there. and Wake Up America Patriot Blend, 100% organic. And you can read all about it and everything. I'm going to do a whole video breaking it down, but we got the stuff about a week early. It took me 2 years. One deal fell through to get this. I do have a limited. Click on some of the photos of the folks in Colorado hand roasting it. Turns out the folks hand roasting it. This is only. It turns out they're already InfoWars listeners. I finally got the connection to Mexico to get this. And again, folks, I could sell this for double the price. This is the most gourmet coffee. This is my favorite. Get a bag, support the InfoWars. $17.95 for the regular pound Patriot Blend. $19.95 for the mushroom. It's got all the special immune-boosting mushrooms. Go read all the details at InfoWarsLife.com or InfoWarsStore.com. InfoWarsLife.com will lead you directly to it. It's our second product on top of the nascent iodine that we just... normal iodine, folks, bound and is chemically based and tastes absolutely horrible. This is a proprietary, patented National Academy of Sciences iodine that's just amazing for the glands and the rest of the body and radiation protection. InfoWarsLife.com or call toll-free 888-253-3139, 888-253-3139. And it is your support, buying the high-quality products, the books, the films, the T-shirts, that funds my reporters, my writers, the TV division, everything we're building, the film division. We are truly organic, free association supported by you. Guys, can we do commercial-free overdrive to take calls? Or do we have to end, or is it not? We can, okay. I know I got to pre-program the computers for you guys to do that. We're going to end on our AM and FM stations here and go to overdrive, Infowars.com/show for the video and free audio feeds. If you're a radio listener, we're going to do about 20 minutes, and I go to my dad's birthday. His birthday's actually at 6:30, but I'm going to do about 15 minutes of overdrive because I will go to Jake and John and Clifford and Mark and Brandon and Arthur and Edward and Dee and everybody else when we go to break here in a moment. But I saw in Dallas, in the 50th anniversary of the murder of JFK, the dichotomy of the Dallas police. They're not perfect, but they were acting professionally, had nice uniforms, were polite, looked good, were well-spoken, and were somewhat friendly, compared to the sheriff's department, who were federal goons coming out of a federal building who looked like they'd been grown in some type of goblin dish, you know, by Saruman or something, and who were enjoying attacking children. I mean, that's the choice we have, America. You want to be honorable or you want to be an absolute goon? The video's all on Infowars.com. Ladies and gentlemen, we are brought up by television and they never warned you, or mainstream television, then you don't know. But, I mean, by every yardstick, this is tyranny. Everything we saw in third world countries is now happening here. I'm going to go to your calls. I kind of halfway plugged this tonight. I should have rolled it out next week with an official promo video to really tell you how good this is. But since I started talking about it, let me just spend a few minutes talking about this because I'm so excited. I told you 2 years ago I was coming out with coffee. Then the deal fell through. Because it turned out this super gourmet coffee that I love so much, and maybe you're not going to like it, but everybody I know thinks this is great coffee. Folks, I've been having the office having this gourmet coffee before we ever got it branded to us. I mean, is this good coffee? I didn't tell you I was going to ask you. Are you on air? Now, go ahead and punch yourself up, Nico. Give me your honest, I didn't tell you I was going to do this. Give me your honest take on the coffee. Because the office coffee we've had all these years, is, even though it's expensive, I like it. It's the exact same coffee we have here at half the price. Have you liked the coffee that the office has had so far?
Yeah, it's great. Tim came in with a whole bunch of samples, and we all sort of just sat around and like tried to distinguish the nuances of each of the flavors. And it's the best.
Sure, to be specific, varieties of the coffee I'd already been having here for us is what I'm saying. Absolutely.
Yep.
But then I was complaining how expensive it was and trying to, but go ahead and make your point about it.
No, it's great. I mean, like, I'm not a coffee connoisseur, but I mean, I can't get through the day without it. And this is, it's where it needs to be. It's right on point.
And it supports the InfoWars. So I want to just read to you about these two coffees, then I'm going to your phone calls. Here's the Wake Up America Patriot Blend. And the whole office drank 10 or 15 different varieties of this and decided on the best mix. And I concur with their analysis. Our custom roasted Patriot coffee is made from the finest certified organic Arabica beans. Again, if you guys document cam, I'll show them the back of the bag. There it is. Our custom roasted Patriot coffee is made from the finest certified organic Arabica beans. The spirit of The 1776 revolution is truly alive with this exceptional Wake Up America Patriot blend. Our founders forged this nation with guts and determination, and is with that same spirit that InfoWars battles for liberty, honor, and the freedoms of patriots like you everywhere. For 18 years, Alex Jones has been fighting to awaken the sleeping giant that is free humanity. You can tell I wrote this. Now you can get an incredible cup of coffee and support the InfoWar and Wake Up America. And it's been lovingly prepared by Inner Health Botanicals, who imports it and then roast it custom by hand. We have the photos of that on the site. 100% organic Arabica coffee beans. Oregon Tilt has the certification. That is the highest organic certification. The highest organic. And you've also got to get the farmer. This is beyond fair trade. This is total Chiapas Farmer Co-op, 110%. Okay? So... and it's also USDA organic certified. 1 pound, and it's $17 for this. If you want the mushrooms, they cost us a lot. It's $19.95, and that's moderate for gourmet coffee. The stuff we were getting was basically like $35 a pound, or almost double this. It's the exact same beans. And there you go, ladies and gentlemen. And it's a medium roast on both of these. That's what we all liked. And it's available at InfoWarsStore.com. or InfoWarsLife.com, or by calling toll-free 888-253-3139. But there's my breakdown on it. We're going to bring you all the best products at InfoWarsLife.com. Okay, I'm going to shut up now. Let's go to Jake in Georgia, then who's been holding them, then Mark, and then everybody else, and then John. Go ahead, Jake, you're on the air.
Hey, Alex, thanks for taking my call, man. How's it going?
Pretty good, brother. Thanks for holding.
Hey, I just wanted to commend you on real leadership and an activist role and your response to the police. I mean, that's what you're supposed to do. You're not supposed to push back. You're supposed to take the moral high ground, do kind of not obey, but, you know, not provoke them, not try to start a fight, because you knew that's exactly what they wanted. They were trying to provoke a response.
And I got to be honest, though, when I saw that they were still pushing kids, I blew up. But by the grace of God, the head guy put his finger to his ear and backed off. Because at a certain point, they'd push us 200 yards, and it really hurt some people. And I just finally couldn't take it anymore. So, but anyways, go ahead.
Yeah, and it was actually very symbolic of what was going on all over the country that day. We had a rally here in Atlanta protesting the private Federal Reserve. And what I'm seeing, Alex, and I've been doing this for 3 years, and very much thanks to you, I've been awake for 5 years and started my own website, my own radio show because of your inspiration. And what happened was I used to go to these rallies and in the Fed rallies, and it'd be 5, 10 people tops. This last week, it was probably 50, 60 people. We had a whole eclectic group of people. It was people from, Anonymous, people from Occupy Wall Street, mainline Tea Party people.
That's what scares the power structure, is us coming together.
Absolutely. And then you have people, volunteers like myself, that are trying to spread the message of liberty and free markets and kick this octopus out of the system. And it's just a really, really fun and exciting time for people like myself. So I do want to tell people that it's not all doom and gloom.
Oh, no. And I mean, and sometimes I hear my show and rebroadcast, and it sounds like doom and gloom. I'm just warning people about how bad it is to get them up off their butts. But no, we're having all sorts of awakening. I mean, we beat an escalation of the Syrian war. That was the real media that did that. So it's very, very exciting. God bless you, sir. Great points. Anything else?
Yeah, I just wanted to plug a couple of things before I get off. Everybody, on December 23rd, and Alex, you know the significance of that day, I am sponsoring a day called Alternative Currency Day. That's
a great idea. We've got to have it in the Fed on December 23rd, even though most of us are going to be taking off with families, to at least go to a federal building and protest. Well, that's not right, because the Federal Reserve isn't federal. A Federal Reserve building to protest, because it's an imposter. It's not federal. That's the 100th anniversary of this cancer.
Yep, and then and you can find it on Facebook. It's under Alternative Currency Day. And I run a podcast twice a week. And people listen. It doesn't matter how many people start at the beginning. When you start out, you're probably going to have 5, 6 listeners. I started out with 5 or 6 people, and now I've got over 1,000 people to listen to my show on the regular and go to my website on the regular. And I just like the brand, so I'm going to go ahead and say it. It's wearenotcattle.net is the website, and my radio show is We Are Not Cattle.
No, that's...
As you know, we are not sheep, and we are not their...
No, that's awesome. We're here for other folks to promote what they're doing. God bless you. I appreciate your call. And it's weird. I have promoted so many other talk show hosts. I have promoted so many other news websites and personalities. And about 80% of them, the vast majority, as I was thinking about it today, is about 8 out of 10, like want to bring you down because they think that somehow if you helped them, that if they got rid of you or discredited you, they would be the new leader. They don't get a rising tide raises all ships. The only people that really haven't betrayed me is people like George Norrie, and the whole Coast to Coast group, Matt Drudge, people like that. WorldNet Daily's been helpful. But, I mean, so many others over the years, they just make crap up and everything. I'm just working all the time. I'm just a regular, nice, friendly guy. And society's so evil and so screwed up. I'm just a loyal person. I'm so loyal. I don't think of myself as a good guy. I just don't get disloyalty and sneakiness and crap acidness. I mean, I don't know what you call it. I just... That's what gets to me. It's just the dishonorableness of the system. I mean, I would never come up to a peaceful crowd of protesters who'd been let in and then not say move back. Even if I was ordered, I'd say move back. I've been at demonstrations where they go move back, move back. They go, in a couple minutes, if you don't move back, we're going to get a little rougher. And then you move back. No, it was just like, move back, bam. I mean, and it's like, what on earth is going on here? And we were legally there. And the police chief had let us in, and the feds did it. It was illegal. And you're like, well, Alex, what do you expect from this criminal government? I know. It's just that it's different to be there and to see it. And actually then yell at the Dallas police, and they're all like, literally, I talked to one senior guy. I don't know who he was. I couldn't even tell the police chief until I saw his picture later. Looked like the deputy police chief, and he had like literal tears in his eyes and wouldn't say anything. He was like, I know. It was like I know, yeah. I was like, this is horrible. And he would like, I said, yeah. And then later we left, Dew went over to him with his camera off, and the guy went, it's horrible. They're under the feds. It's a special federal unit of the sheriff. And the Dallas police were just literally freaking out because they saw a peaceful group attacked under federal command illegally for no reason. You should be freaked out by that. You should be, that's Mexico, that's Russia, that's China, that's North Korea, folks. We're like half a step from that now. And it's the damn feds. I mean, it just comes down, they're not even feds. They're foreign run, folks. If the states get out of hand, the feds are supposed to get involved. Feds get out of hand, the states are supposed to get involved. Now the feds don't even exist. They're just run by foreign banks. I mean, we're just... totally run by criminals. I mean, I saw a video this week. I never got to it. Maybe search engine it while I'm talking to the next caller. Put it up whenever you want. I'm going to talk to Mark and others here right now. But in Portugal and Spain, they're taking all the police pensions, which, by the way, is not the reason the country's going bankrupt, even though they might be a little exorbitant. If you look at it, it's derivatives. They've signed it up where they've stolen the money, most of it. So the main police union is out there protesting, and the riot police, which in Portugal are hired mercenaries, are literally hitting them with rubber bullets and beating them. And there's, I mean, then the cops put up with it. There's like that authority thing where, okay, well, I'm off duty and I'm having my pension fund taken, but now the young cops are going to beat me. I mean, it just... people are only going to take so much of this stuff, but in Portugal and Spain, they've taken the guns. They're going to try this crap here, and I mean, I feel sorry for all the people that are going to pull the triggers on us, because triggers are going to undoubtedly get pulled on the other side. And the globalists won't care. They're flying around in private jets offshore. We're all idiots for letting this happen. And I'm trying to figure out, like a Rubik's Cube, how do we get out of this? I just want prosperity. I want my freedom back. I want to legalize freedom. I want America back. Not that it's ever been perfect, but man, we're going downhill here. That's where I stand. Most people like have all these ulterior motives and won't say what they think and are all sneaky, because the average person is so insecure, folks. We need to get back to just, this is how it is. This is where I stand. This is what I'm doing. All right, let's go to your calls. Mark and then John and everybody else has been holding. Mark in Kentucky, you're on the air. Welcome.
Hello?
Hey, buddy.
How you doing?
Pretty good, brother. What's on your mind? Thank you for calling.
I'm a first-time caller. I've been listening for a couple of years, and I have a subscription for about a year now. But I believe that they were trying to provoke you to take action on Friday, and I almost bet money on the fact that they had, 100 more guys in wait with.
No. The callers actually mentioned, and I now vaguely remember more of them waiting across the street. So, yeah, I think that was the plan, was to have us fight back, and then they would sandwich us and kettle us. But don't they get, I'm actually afraid that if they would have beat my head in or something, I will pretty much guarantee you there would have been, not by me, there would have been reprisals, undoubtedly. What do you think about that?
Oh, I believe they would have probably opened fire and started.
Well, we know it was the feds. They came out of the federal building under federal command. What do you think the feds were thinking?
That this might be an opportunity to provoke you into doing something so they could shut down your radio station or bring anything up against you.
No, I hear you. Listen, turn down your radio and you can focus and talk. You're making good points, but everybody turn down your radio. Anything else you'd like to add, sir?
Well, my aunt passed away a month ago from cancer.
Sorry to hear that.
And I was wondering if you've ever heard of this thing called DCA.
Is that one of those protein inhibitors?
I don't know. It's called dichloroacetate. It's supposed to be like a simple molecule.
I've heard about a lot of stuff that's treatments, but I don't know enough about it. It's so complex. I learn stuff now all the time, and I'm not young anymore. Like, all my old knowledge is still there, but new stuff, I still have a good memory, but it's not like it used to be. I've forgotten more about most stuff than most people will ever know. Not bragging. Yes, it rings a bell, but I can't speak to it.
Well, I have another friend that's, just diagnosed with cancer.
Oh, yeah.
And you try to tell these people, what they're doing to them and stuff, and it's like pulling teeth or, surgery to get these people to listen to what you want to tell them about.
I know. It's very sad. I appreciate you calling in. This is all I can say, and you can look these numbers up. They try to suppress these numbers, but they're available. Cancer in the West is up around 3,000% on average. Some cancers are up way above that. Some are lower. I mean, I saw like an ABC News headline 6-7 years ago that there would have been a 7-fold increase in lung cancer in the last decade in women, even though smoking went down. I mean, they're killing us. And there's a lot of toxic stuff in the environment, but it's the GMO food that gives rats cancer on record. It's the vaccines. It's the water. They're killing us. Look how sick everybody looks. Even if you exercise all day, look how unhealthy. And if I was a selfish person, I would sell everything and move with my wife and children to the South Pacific, to a small island 5 years ago. Not last week. It's a scientific takeover, and that's what's so frustrating about those police and all the thugs and everything else, is that it's like getting stabbed, and you don't know you got stabbed, you bleed to death, 10 years later. That's what soft kill is. And I always use the Pentagon term, killing you softly, soft kill, delayed weapon systems. And then they have movies like Brad Pitt, Killing You Softly, and people say, oh, you heard that in a movie. But we've been killed softly. Most of us, we're going to die young already. They've killed us. A lot of people don't care. They can go watch a football game and have a good time. They don't care they got killed. They don't care their kids are killed. They don't care their First Amendment was killed. Their Fourth Amendment was killed. Their 10th Amendment, their economy was killed. Psychopathic science technocrats are in control. And they're putting in a total grid they call a battle net with all the surveillance systems to bring us down. And I'm just here, I guess, a bad guy warning you about it. I mean that. I'm a bad person. Because I'm aware of it, and I'm informed, and I'm trying to help people and help myself, and that's bad. So that's what it comes down to. I'm a bad person. Let's talk to Clifford in Louisiana. You're on the air. Go ahead.
Hey, Alex. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right. Excuse me if I skip the pleasantries, but I work in close conjunction with some of the military here locally, and every day I see them do training to where they can go in and take an area and get with the local governing officials and kind of hold the area, like they do in Iraq or Afghanistan.
Yeah, they're practicing to hold U.S. cities during collapse, yeah, which the system is engineered, yeah. Hmm?
Yeah, and I see this on the regular, and I think to myself, well, here coming shortly, this is going to happen on U.S. soil. And I asked some of the soldiers, hey, do you make the comparison? Do you see how this could go on here in America? And it goes right over the top of their head. They don't even get it. They're like you said, they're too busy worried about football or the new iPhone coming out. Oh, Xbox is coming out with a new system, and
Yeah, well, they're going to. Here's the deal: if it was a real collapse and they were stabilizing things, they'd be welcomed in with open arms. This is an engineered Cloward and Piven collapse on record, Rand Corporation plan. And they are bringing it in, and they're going to try to arrest all the patriots, take our guns. Now, does that sound like a very safe job?
No. Well, and this is what I try to explain to people, because I tell them, hey, look, if you knew the master plan, if you knew everything that was going to go on, it would make the top of your head explode. You would just the FEMA camps.
No, you would act like I do. You would be freaking out and frustrated and angry because it's pretty much all public. That's what's crazy, is that this is all there. The same people aren't even stupid. They know everything about football. If the football heads knew about COG, continuity of government, police state, like I do, like they know about football, it'd be game over for the New World Order. But they don't think that's interesting to know about a creeping evil takeover. They just want to literally go to the bar and act tough and wear sports jerseys.
I had somebody ask me, well, what really is bad about having the FEMA camps just in case something happens? I told them, do you not realize that once you enter one of those camps to go in and get your free clothes and free food and free house and your little job that they're going to give you, you're going to sign away all of your rights. The wire will...
Wow, it sounds like you know what you're talking about. Or what, are you a social worker or police officer?
Excuse me?
Are you a social worker, police officer?
I'm former military. I was OIF 1 vet.
So are you a contractor? Why are you working with them now in COG?
I'm a contractor.
Well, let's expand on that. For those that don't know, the Emergency Centers Establishment Act that they tried to pass 3 years ago, last year and this year, all it does is legalize and increase funding for what's already there. You read that 100-plus page bill, that's the plan. And they say in the new Army manuals that they re-educate you. The troublemakers are going to have to be taken away to a special camp. And everybody else, you're right, they're going to have movies and rock bands that come in, and it's like, oh, things collapse, but we got a work camp, and folks are helping. There was some trouble at the camp, and it's all a bunch of politically correct social workers over police and military. Can you imagine being under the social workers and the socialists at the damn camps? I mean, look, we're not going, folks. So to the cops and military that think people are going to go, if 1% stand up, you're all dead. And that's the plan. They're going to wipe out the police and military in this civil war and then bring in the FAR and I-4 formation. And that's public record, too. Rand Corporation thinks we're so dumb, it's all published. The entire battle plan. That's how pathetic they think we are. Because no one in Congress will dare challenge it. No one will dare, because it's so horrible. Even though I know Rand Paul and Ted Cruz know about all this, I know they do. They won't even broach that. Because the public can't even believe Obamacare is meant to double their prices and kick people off, even though when it came true, they attacked Ted Cruz. See, the public can't even admit they're being raped when it's happening in front of them. Go ahead.
Alex, they're doing all of this out in public. They're doing it on the internet. They're showing everything that they're doing, everything that was associated with JFK. If you can look at that and honestly believe that one lone man decided to take the top of the president of the United States head off, you're crazy. You're ludicrous for even believing that one guy could just do that by himself. There's so many different discrepancies in the story that it's ridiculous just to believe that Oswald decided to stick his gun out the window and shoot the president on his own. All the other influences, and it just baffles me that people will not just pay attention. They won't look. They won't do their own research.
Well, America's drunk on entertainment and everything else. I hear you. God bless you. I got to cram in the rest real fast. My dad's birthday party's in like 10 minutes. I'm already going to be a half hour late. Let's go to John in Texas. Thanks for holding, brother. Go ahead.
Hi there, Alex. Thank you for taking my call. I'll keep it as brief as I can. I've been a long-time listener and supporter of the InfoWar. I still have my very first VHS copy of America Destroyed by Design.
Well, thank you for the support, brother.
Oh, you're welcome. And I continue to do that in my own way. I print out flyers and put them up in coffee shops. I've made short 5-minute videos and give them out to friends and family.
Well, good job.
But the main reason I'm calling is something you said last week that really put the fire under my butt. I have been a Blue Lodge Freemason now for about 5 years. And I only did that because of the founding fathers of Texas and the founding fathers of America. They were all Freemasons. They were all Blue Lodge Masons.
No, they were. I mean, people that say Masons are all evil and all that, they don't even know what they're talking about. My issue is I actually know the history of it and everything. My point is that as George Washington wrote, it was being taken over in his day. So if Masons don't stand up against this, what does that say about Masons?
Exactly, and that's the vow that I've taken. I was born and raised in Texas. You know, we'd go to the Alamo and have a moment of silence as a family. That's holy ground to Texas. And those men that died there died for the belief that everybody should be free. Everybody. Doesn't matter.
And most of them were Masons.
Most of them were Masons, and that's what makes me proud to be part of that. But you really lit the fire under me last week, and I've been trying to call in and just say that, you know what, there is at least one of us out there in Texas with that spirit of liberty that is doing the best I can and fighting the fights that I can.
Sure. Well, you know what the Bible says, and I want you to be able to continue. The Bible says you judge a tree by its fruits, and there's a lot of different arms of the Masons. It just goes back even pre-Christianity, back to Egypt, and, of course, Solomon's Temple, as you know. I've had a lot of family that were Masons, and I had great-grandpas that were Masons and stuff, and grandpas that, you know, had family that were Masons, and they just said, don't be part of it now, it's become corrupt. And that's like anything, it becomes corrupt. I'm not saying every lodge is corrupt or they're devil worshippers or whatever. My point is I mean, I know what's really going on in those lodges. I've researched it. None of it's really secret. People are lazy and just don't read the official Masonry books. I've read them. And look, George Washington was actually doing what it really said and was actually promoting liberty. Now, I don't see the Masons doing that. I see them attacking me behind the scenes. I see them promoting the establishment. I see them pushing the system. So I don't just get up here and say, oh, the Masons are all evil. You do that, it then makes Masons who aren't evil think that you're lying about them. My issue is the globalists, the Illuminati that George Washington talked about, have used the Blue Lodge and others they've tried to infiltrate to I mean, it's on record the Illuminati tried to infiltrate the Masons and did in France and Germany and took it over. And George Washington said, I don't want to be part of that Masonic movement. You know, this is evil. This is Illuminati. This is devil worship. People don't even know George Washington's letters exist. They think we're just making this up. It's in the National Archives. But go ahead and make your point.
Oh, no, I totally agree that Masonry at large in the world had unfortunately been infiltrated, and especially in the United States. And I'm going to tell you something real blunt. I believe from my years as a Mason and of my own research, I believe that the American arm of the Illuminati in America, as far as the part that infiltrated Masonry, are the Scottish Rite of the southern part of the United States. If you read and you look between the lines, they have pushed this agenda, their agenda, not the honorable, good brotherhood thing that Masonry promotes in general. They have pushed their personal agenda into every single lodge, and they do try. They try their best to do it, infiltrate and push what they believe. I'm not Scottish Rite. I never will be as long as I live. But I'll tell you from my own research, that's the hard.
Well, look, I mean, you're going to have cliques everywhere. That's what I try to explain to people. You can take any organization, any race, any religion, any group, and bad people can take it over. What matters is the heart. And so I'm challenging Masons, just like I've done on national television on that History Channel piece. I mean, I know George Washington. I've researched him. He was a great man. He was a Mason. Andrew Jackson, great man, a Mason. But the point is that there is a battle within Masonry, and the devil always tries to create a counterfeit. That's what I'm saying. And if you go back to what you'd call the official founder of the Masons, Solomon, there's a debate whether he was a good guy or a bad guy, because with great knowledge becomes, great goodness and badness. So it's very sophisticated. I've studied it. I'm not a Mason, but I know that I had great-grandfathers and other people and family, the founders of Texas that were Masons, who were incredibly honorable, good people who would not be involved in any corruption and really believed in some good ideas. And there's no doubt, though, that I don't see the modern Masons fighting tyranny. I see them promoting the establishment agenda, and they need to face that. I'm not saying they're bad up front. I'm being honorable and absolutely on the level about all this stuff. I'm saying, okay, I'm not saying you're bad. Show me your fruits. What are you going to do as America's darkest hour? What are you doing right now? If you acted like George Washington, I would support you. You're not acting like George Washington. You're acting like the opposite of George Washington. I don't care how much money you gave to some tax-exempt hospital that steals the money. I don't care what you did to build, some new, Veterans Hall or whatever. Great. I want to see you on the street battling for the Bill of Rights and Constitution that your forebears created. I want to see you defend that. I appreciate your call, sir. We got to move quick now, because the crew's got to get home. They've been working so hard, Nico and John Bound and Wes and the whole crew, working 7 days a week lately. We're about to hire some more folks to help them out. That's why we got to promote the products and get some money in here. Edward in New York, you're on the air. Go ahead.
All right. Hello, Mr. Alex Jones.
Hey, brother. Thanks for holding. Go ahead.
All right. I want to let you know that you want to know what's going to happen, how we're going to stop this? Well, right here in Long Island, in Suffolk County, we're having a massive eminent domain seizure of property coming up for what's called the Ronkonkoma Hub Project. It's endorsed by Schumer and Cuomo, all those big heads, and there's another one called Wyandanch Rising. And what it is, it's supposed to be a massive transportation hub that they're going to start building in our small suburban communities here, and they're going to create, high-density housing and all this other stuff. To give you an idea, we have two ways we're going to try and resist this. There's the final votes coming up in January 9th at the Brookhaven Town Hall. And just let me give you a couple of quotes of what the tyrants have said here. Schumer, you got my attention, Brookhaven and Islip. He hailed it as a regional project which would rehabilitate the train station.
Sure. What they do is they take public works now and give it to their insider buddies. It's classic scams. And then while they shut off all their competition. Whereas if they had a free market and had public works, that would be different. But they're busy. We're strangling the economy while they only give themselves the blood supply.
The company that is called Tritech, I'm looking at their website too, and they're saying it's to help our community and meet our needs. We don't need our needs met. Our needs are fine. We're number of Forbes magazine has us listed as number 11 in the most taxed county in the United States. We don't need to be subsidizing more people coming into our schools other than the sewage treatment plants, and then there's going to be more eminent domain seizures that they're not even mentioning. Like, they're going to have to build parking lots. Then Schumer is also endorsing the double track project, which is going to build an extra rail line through Suffolk County. They're going to have to seize a lot of property coming right towards where I live. But anyway.
I know. They just absolutely take the taxpayer money and then give it to public works projects that are privately run, basically by the mafia.
Yeah, there's a quote. There's a book called Intellectual Society by the author Thomas Sowell. And he mentions it. I think he says, actually I got it right here. An even more direct benefit to the affluent and the wealthy at the expense of the people of low and moderate incomes has resulted from the ever greater scope of allowed government officials to override property rights in the name of open space and smart growth, other forms of arbitrary building restrictions. But anyway, so we were having a large civic meeting in our town here of Ronkonkoma, and we had the whole high school, junior high was filled, the whole auditorium. There was over 300 people. Not a single resident there was in favor of this project.
No, I know. That's what smart growth is they selectively decide who can build and who can't. It's mafia put into the building code. God bless you, Edward. Good points. Last caller, appreciate you holding. D in California, you're on the air.
Hi, Alex.
Hi.
I want to know if you've heard about the fMRI machine.
Say that again?
The fMRI machine.
I know they've got a lot of different types of new magnetic resonance machines, yes.
Yeah, well, they're not telling you the full story about that. That and the brain mapping, the hospitals have been hypnotizing people with that. I mean, quickly. They don't even know what happened. And then they're asking them all kinds of questions about guns and
Oh, no, ma'am, on record, under Obamacare, when they get you drugged up or in a test, they have a computer hooked to the health department, and they say, you got enough money right now? And if you say, no, we don't have enough money, they take your kids. Or they test your blood. You smoke marijuana, they take your kids. The hospitals are there preying on you in a predatory way, yes.
Well, I'm saying that they were also when the people are under hypnosis, they're trying to get them to turn against their family members.
Well, they do all sorts of mind control in the hospitals. They've always used those. Not all hospitals are involved in it, but yeah, no, they've always used hospitals as fronts. No, this is a criminal government. So their thing is to use government and corporations that control government as a system to commit crime against the population. So send me some information. God bless you. I appreciate your call. Look, I'm out of time. I appreciate the crew. And I know we got other folks on hold, but I'm just out of time. We'll be back, Lord willing, 11 a.m. Central tomorrow with the mainline weekday radio transmission. We've got a big interview tomorrow as well with Vivian Kubrick, of course, daughter of the legendary top director in history, Stanley Kubrick. We're going to have that premiering here on the worldwide transmission and so much more. So you want to stay with us for that. She did a lot of the scores, worked on the movies. Really smart lady. Got a chance to meet her. Great job with the crew. And again, pray for liberty, pray for freedom. And talking right to the Masons with all your on the level, compass stuff. Come on. I mean, if you're really on the level, be on the level. And just be open and honest that you're helping the New World Order. Judge a tree by its fruits.